Here are 50 important questions and answers on macroevolution for biology honors class. Topics include homologous and analogous structures, embryology, cladograms, vestigial structures, and more. Macroevolution, questions and answers. Basic concepts. What is macroevolution? Macroevolution refers to large-scale evolutionary changes that occur over long periods of time, often resulting in new species or groups of species. How is macroevolution different from microevolution? Microevolution involves small changes within a species, while macroevolution involves changes that lead to the formation of new species. What is speciation? Speciation is the process by which one species splits into two or more distinct species. What is adaptive radiation? Adaptive radiation is when a single species evolves into several different forms that live in different ways. What is extinction? Extinction is the end of a species when the last individual dies. What is convergent evolution? Convergent evolution occurs when unrelated species evolve similar traits due to similar environments. What is divergent evolution? Divergent evolution is when two or more species share a common ancestor but evolve different traits. What is coevolution? Coevolution is when two or more species affect each other's evolution, such as predators and prey. What is punctuated equilibrium? It is a theory that species evolve quickly during short periods of rapid change, followed by long periods of stability. What is gradualism? Gradualism is the theory that evolution occurs slowly and steadily over time. Homologous structures. What are homologous structures? Homologous structures are body parts with similar structures but different functions, indicating common ancestry. Give an example of homologous structures. The forelimbs of humans, cats, whales, and bats are homologous structures. What do homologous structures suggest about evolution? They suggest that the organisms share a common ancestor. Are homologous structures always similar in function? No, they may perform different functions but have a similar internal structure. Analogous structures. What are analogous structures? Analogous structures have similar functions but different structures and evolutionary origins. Give an example of analogous structures. The wings of birds and insects are analogous structures. What do analogous structures tell us about evolution? They show how different species can adapt similarly to similar environments, not common ancestry. Are analogous structures evidence of convergent or divergent evolution? Convergent evolution. Vestigial structures. What are vestigial structures? Vestigial structures are body parts that have lost their original function through evolution. Give an example of a vestigial structure in humans. The appendix or wisdom teeth. What do vestigial structures suggest about ancestry? They suggest that an organism descended from ancestors that used the structure. Do vestigial structures prove evolution? They support the idea of descent with modification. Embryology. What is embryology? Embryology is the study of embryos and their development. How does embryology support evolution? Similarities in embryonic stages of different species suggest a common ancestor. Which organisms show similar embryonic stages? Fish, birds, reptiles, and mammals show similar early embryonic development. What structures are commonly seen in embryos of different species? Pharyngeal pouches and tails. Fossil record. What is the fossil record? Fossil record is the collection of all known fossils and their placement in rock formations. How does the fossil record support macroevolution? Shows changes in species over time and the appearance of new species. What are transitional fossils? Fossils that show intermediate traits between ancestral and modern species. Give an example of a transitional fossil. Chiropteryx, a link between reptiles and birds. Cladograms and phylogenetic trees. What is a cladogram? A diagram that shows evolutionary relationships among organisms. What do the branches of a cladogram represent?
Evolutionary paths from a common ancestor. What is a derived characteristic? A trait that appears in recent parts of a lineage but not in older members. How do scientists use cladograms? To determine how closely organisms are related. What is a node on a cladogram? A branching point that represents a common ancestor. Genetic and molecular evidence. How does DNA support macroevolution? Similar DNA sequences suggest close evolutionary relationships. What molecules are compared in molecular biology? DNA, RNA, and proteins. What is the significance of cytochrome C in evolution studies? It's a protein used to compare relatedness between species. What do similar proteins in different species suggest? They share a common ancestor. Natural selection and macroevolution. What role does natural selection play in macroevolution? It drives changes that can lead to the formation of new species over time. Can natural selection cause extinction? Yes. If a species cannot adapt to changes, it may become extinct. What is an example of natural selection leading to macroevolution? The evolution of land animals from aquatic ancestors. Examples and case studies. How did whales evolve from land mammals? Fossils show transitional forms from land-dwelling ancestors to modern whales. What is an example of divergent evolution? Darwin's finches with different beak shapes. What is an example of convergent evolution? The evolution of wings in birds and bats. Review and application. Why is studying evolution important? It helps us understand biodiversity and how life adapts to changes. How do scientists determine the age of fossils? Using relative dating and radiometric dating. What are index fossils? Fossils of widely distributed organisms that lived during only one short time period. How can scientists reconstruct the evolutionary history of life? By combining fossil, anatomical, molecular, and embryological data. What is the importance of macroevolution in biodiversity? It explains the origin and development of the vast variety of life on Earth.